आ चुकी है बेटा,
है?
लाइट आ चुकी है, बेटा।
हाँ। Greetings to all. Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Hope you all are doing well. Good afternoon. I thought we'll just interact and feel free to ask anything or discuss anything or share. So one question is pain sensation in head natural during awakening? Yes, it can happen, and it can happen in different region of the brain, and generally during awakening there are a lot of processes happening in the body, so you can feel pressure in the forehead or at the back of the head. I used to have a lot of pain at the back of my head for years, and then they just disappeared after some time. I do get occasionally a few headaches here and there, but it's not a problem anymore. Yes, it can happen when you are alone too. It can come that way. How to contemplate and ponder and let the attention be total. How to activate the observation when mind is already preoccupied in thoughts and is drained of energy. Well, you don't have to use energy, you don't have to use the mind. Just be. There is no way to activate the observation. The observation is already activated. Just be with that restful space that is witnessing everything. And that means sometimes your flow will be there in thinking. It will take that route, but that's okay. After some time, again, the witnessing will happen, the observation will happen, and then it will be cut off, and then you will be back in your most natural state. So, the more you rest in your natural state, the stronger that presence grows. That's the whole idea. So somebody says, I also have a pulsing on my forehead, like something is crawling on it. Also sometimes my temples buzz when I fall asleep. Yes, these are some of the physical processes that happen. Throbbing in the forehead can happen. It does happen. And it's okay. Do not get too much caught up into all of that. But yes, they're just the energy flowing through the body is doing what's needed to be done. Somebody says, What a wild world we live in, that these kind of interactions can occur globally. I was just about to turn off my computer and then this live chat appeared. I have never been on your channel before. Well, yes, that happens. That happens, and thank you for being here. Somebody says, can heart chakra dissolve your mind pattern? Heart chakra, conceptually speaking, is more about the emotional flow, the vrittis, the tendencies. Um the mind becomes more refined at the level of throat chakra, if you speak conceptually, and it completely begins dissolving at the level of the agya chakra. That is where, uh, you create a this is the point where the left brain and the right brain become balanced, and that is when you feel more at peace. What is event horizon? I don't know. I've never heard of it. What is shunya practice? Did you do it, and does it really help? Would you recommend it for everyone? No, I haven't done any shunya practice. In fact, I haven't done any practices as such. Well, in my early days of seeking, I would do vipassana and other techniques, but then subsequently all practices started dissolving. And you see, the whole idea is that life itself, the flow of life itself, becomes your teacher. It gives you experiences, insights, and that is the opportunity for learning to happen. And through interaction with people, you learn. Through interaction, through by facing the situations that life presents you, the challenges that life presents you, an understanding comes about. Every time you feel something within you, just observe it, and that itself can be said to be a practice. Simply the observation of whatever is happening, and see if your mind flows here and there trying to find a solution to it. For most people, I've seen that their mind flows here and there. They try to find a solution. But in trying to find a solution to the so perceived problems, they get more entangled. So you see, mind loves entanglement. Mind wants to get more and more entangled. So it is not a very enthusiastic about solving your problems. It wants the problems to continue. So it is saying, no, do this practice, do that practice, this will be better, that will be better. But end of the day, you just get caught up in practices. But what about life? The flow of life, interaction with people, interaction with situations. That itself becomes a practice. That is meditation, to allow everything to be the way it is. Debujit says, how to trust more to the unknown. Just be, that's it. Just be and see whatever is happening. See the movements that your mind is taking and what those movements are leading you to. Now, some of these movements will be painful. And through pain, sometimes we learn. And as the mind becomes quieter, the unknown reveals itself. So, it is not a matter of trust. It's just that one just has to be, and the unknown will reveal itself. It may sound complicated, but actually it's very simple. Sometimes I feel strong vibrations crawling up my feet. Yes, there are many nerves, many energy points in the body, and a lot of processes are taking place. So yes, one can definitely feel sensations in different part of the bodies. It can be in the lower part or higher part or anywhere for that matter. let the energy, I would say, let the energy do its job. Okay, Yogesh says how to develop equanimity. Equanimity is it's an understanding. It develops through acceptance of what is. Because most of the time, our mind lurks either in the dead past or into an imaginary future. Most of us live in a lot of fear of what will happen in future. Will I be safe? Will I be secure? Will I have this or that? So you see, we keep moving in that direction unconsciously. And uh, in that fear, we operate from our most primitive brain, you know. And equanimity comes when we see that things are simply happening and not that an individual is doing anything. When this is accepted that nobody is the doer, but things are simply happening according to cosmic law, a cosmic law that human mind cannot make any sense of, but simply accept it. You know, in words of Meister Eckhart, he says that all the human object can do is marvel at the Lord's creation. It cannot make sense of what is good or bad according from the universe's perspective. We can have our relative good and bad, but from the universe's perspective, we will never know. To surrender to that energy, that working of the universe brings equanimity. So that means right now, in this very moment, we simply surrender to this. This means here, whatever is happening right now, and equanimity will happen. Okay, event horizon is orbiting around the sun. It speeds up when you harness gravity. These concepts are beyond my understanding. All is number. I don't know much about it. Okay, Ramachandra says, I'm suffering from GAD. Any advice? Just relax. Try to relax as much as possible, fully knowing that things need not to be controlled. The more we give this energy to the mind to try to control things, the more anxious we feel. And yes, it's not that we will be able to do it every time. Sometimes we will not. Sometimes we will try to control even when we know that things are not in our control. And that's also okay. So in this case, if something is too much, the sensation or anything is too much and some external support is needed, then by all means go for it. Otherwise, if you think you can handle it yourself, then just watch the sensation, watch the resistance which is causing anxiousness, and just be with that energy for a while and let it dissolve. It dissolves. When you bring total attention to it, that means when you're aware how your mind is running here and there in a stream of thought, in a stream of thinking, which is creating all this, this chain of thoughts and feelings and sensations one after the other, and its complete entanglement, that vision itself breaks the entanglement. So I would just say, take care of yourself, take care of your health, eat well, sleep well, and just surrender, relief will come. Okay, Speckless says, how is your journey so far? Any tips from recent battles with self? Journey so far has been beautiful. It has been amazing. And yes, battles go on. But I let the self do whatever it needs to do in a given moment. Not too concerned about things. Yes, there have been recent challenges. In fact, I'm going through a personal challenge right now as we speak. But it's just happening, and the small self knows what to do, when to do. I just surrender to it, and whatever happens, happens. But yes, there is awareness, and that awareness prevents reactions. Sometimes. Sometimes the reaction happens, that's also okay. So, journey so far has been, by God's grace, very peaceful. Okay, Mark says, can you explain a little bit more about the concept of separate self and how to get there? Well, separate self is identification with a name and form as a separate entity, or what we call as the ego. And just watching how this separate self creates separation, a separate notion that I am separate from others, and how this separation causes suffering. Simply watching that begins to dissolve the ego. So, acceptance actually weakens the ego. The more we accept things the way they are, because separate self is all about control. It tries to carve its own way, thinking that if I do this way, maybe I will attain the outcome that I want. But attachment with the outcome causes anxiety, causes pain, causes suffering. But when it is completely left to the universe, when it is completely accepted that universe, the way it works, we cannot make sense of it, the small self suspends movement. It becomes so the mind becomes still, and one relaxes in this presence, awareness. And that's it. It's nothing more. Okay, Debajit says, how to trust the unknown future. My life seems very uncertain. I don't have any goals or plans. I'm confused. Yes. I don't know who it was. It was Osho, I think, who said, courage is the love affair with the unknown. The life will always be uncertain, because goals will also keep changing one after the other. One goal will come. When we are young, we are told to study, make a life. Then that's the goal. After that, we are told to start a family. That's a goal. Then we are told to plan for retirement. That's also another goal. So goals keep coming. Plans, we make plans all our life, and most of the time our plans don't go according to what we want. That's been my experience. So make plans, there's no problem, but make plan with this understanding that life still may offer another plan for you, not the one that you want. And it may seem tough in a given moment. It may seem very unsettling in a given moment that my plans are not working, but it's I wanted to be a government servant. I wanted to get into a government job. That was my plan when I was young. And I tried so hard, but I just didn't have the skills to, crack government exams and get a government job. I didn't have the skills. And I used to feel so disappointed. But right now where I am in life, I feel quite content that what universe planned for me was way, way better than what I was planning for myself. So, trusting the universe brings an end to the fear of uncertainty. The goals will come, let them come, it's okay. Okay, Ashish says, why Kundalini awakening is so painful? Because the energy has its own will. The energy does not it does not respond to the will of the separate self, the ego. The ego says, I want this, I want that, I want Kundalini to open this chakra, maybe Anahata chakra or Vishuddhi chakra or Muladhara chakra. But it's not going to listen. It's going to work in an order which it finds best. And it doesn't also care much about the body and the mind. It just flows. But here's the thing, if the mind is clear, if the mind if one is more accepting towards or let's say if one is more relaxed, if one has a calm mind, then the Kundalini flow is quite effortless. It doesn't create that much problem. Otherwise, for many people, Kundalini can be very traumatic because they're offering a lot of resistance. It brings out mental patterns which are not very comfortable. It is bringing out a lot of stuff from the deep psyche, a lot of repressed, suppressed stuff from childhood. So yes, it is bound to be a little uncomfortable. It'll never be a smooth sail, so as to speak. But overall, yes, as it rises above to the more subtler energy points, one does feel relief. Okay, Ritesh says, when I interact with people, I feel so nervous. What can I do to overcome this pattern? Well, just, just observe where the nervousness is coming from. Just be still and watch what is happening in the body, and you will find that there is no center to this nervousness. It's just that your brain has learned a pattern when it sees a particular situation, and then it simply reacts. It thinks that the situation is a threat, it's not safe. But if you're totally present, totally aware of what is happening, you will see that there is actually no threat. So just breathe into it completely and take a step, move forward, and try to interact with people. But don't push yourself too much. If it happens, it happens. Otherwise, it's all good. Do as much as you feel comfortable. Take it slowly, one step at a time, and it will be fine. Okay, thank you for the answer from Turkey. Oh, thank you. Is growth love? Everything is love. Everything is love. Okay, Aditya is asking, is it possible for witness consciousness or absolute reality to witness itself? Okay, first part. No, it cannot witness itself, because to witness itself, it will have to objectify itself. The witness is not an objectification. So witness is the pure subject. It is made up of pure knowing, so it does not witness itself. But yes, through manifestation that happens, the witness and the witnessed are one and the same. But witnessing, pure witnessing, is not witnessing itself as an object. If so, how is this witness self revealed? Because that is its nature. It is made up of knowing, pure knowing, unaffected knowing. So it does not need to be objectified. It knows because it's made up of knowing. So will it know it is that and not an illusion? Who claims it? It always knows. In fact, but the knowing of the witness is not like the knowing of the mind. The mind has to divide into subject object split. But witness is pure subjectivity. So there is no one who's claiming anything here. It simply is. That's it. Bodhi says, I thought this was to happen on Sunday. I'm glad to find you. Yeah, I was thinking of doing it on Sunday, but since tomorrow we already have a satsang in the evening, India time at 8:30, so I thought it's better to do it on Saturday today. Sagar says, in the toxic environment from a month, all it feels like lost that connection, that intensity. Okay, it's not very clear to me as to what is being asked here, but Speckless is asking, do you have a favorite wisdom teaching you return to for grounding? Well, I don't use a teaching as such. I just sit still and just be. That's it. Be in the quietness and observing. Sometimes it is difficult. Sometimes it is difficult because you have interactions with people and their energies are very different. And sometimes a lot of people project on you and they can disrupt your peace. But rather than, rather than projecting back on them, I just sit quietly. If I need to say something, I do say, but then I sit quietly and observe as to what is happening, the whole body process. And usually it takes some time, but then I feel centered in the presence. And in that presence, actually nothing is happening. No hurt is happening, no thought is happening. So I return to my baseline state very fast. That's why I say it's effortless. Effort is when we resist. That is when the effort comes. That when we don't want to feel our feelings, that is resistance, that is effort. But when we allow awareness to do the job, so as to speak, then just being is enough. So that has been the greatest pointer in my life. And this teaching was from Ramana Maharishi, who said that just be, drop and just be. What he meant was drop the resistance, drop the separate self and just be. Okay, Mr. Boston says, what is yin and yang? I don't know. I don't know much about the teachings of yin and yang. Okay, Karishma asks, what are your thoughts on healing the body from illness during denots? What is denots? There is so much information out there and it can get overwhelming on healing the body from illness during, I don't know what is denots. Did you, okay, there's another question. Did you feel more anger, frustration, or mood swings during awakening? Oh yes, yes. But they used to come in bursts. They would be like, uh, the whole week would pass, and then one day in a week I would feel a surge of energy, high emotional intensity, and I felt it in full intensity. Sometimes even it happens now. I do feel sometimes a little bit anger. Yeah, it does come up. Anger, frustration, mood swings, they do come up. But there is always this awareness that yes, this is happening. So the need to react to it becomes less and less. So life becomes relatively more peaceful. That's the only thing. So yes, during awakening, there are a lot of uh, mood swings happen because mind is conflicted at that time. Mind is used to old patterns and it's attached to the old way of thinking. So for mind, this is something very new, and it does not want new. Mind wants to cling to what is familiar because that's how mind feels safe. Anything new brings it discomfort. That's why they say change is hard. But then with awakening, there is a crack in the structure of the mind, the ego mind, the thinking mind. So, yes, uh, a lot of stuff from the deep mind, the unconscious or the unknown, whatever you want to call it, it starts to surface and it all has to be felt. All has to be released. Nisargadatta Maharaj says that what comes in conscious burns. So whatever arises from underneath, it comes to the conscious surface. It can be reactive stuff, it can be a lot of anger, and it burns. Debojit says, yes, sir, I am listening to Ramesh. Everything is God's will. I am not the doer. It's just happening. But the mind wants security. Yes, mind wants security because mind does not believe that it is not the doer. You know, mind thinks it can do something to get security. Mind is a very complicated thing. It's like an iceberg. There is one part. Now, I'm talking about the ego mind. I'm not talking about the creative thinking mind. The ego mind is like an iceberg. So there is uh, something that is visible on the surface, but there is a big chunk that is below the sea, which is huge, and uh, a lot of things from that part actually comes to the surface sometimes. So I'm not the doer has to be the total understanding. Everything is God's will has to be the total understanding. Once it is, yes, then yes. Meditation is to empty the mind. off-grid thought says, Jagjot, have you seen the movie titled Short Circuit? It has India men in it. I think I have seen that movie, but it's been a while, so. Okay, I'm lagging on the questions, so please excuse me. Okay, Karishma says, is there anything you did during your time of awakening that you thought you could have done differently to help us get through this in a more seamless manner? No. This process is very individual. Your awakening process is never going to be exactly like mine. Yes, I can relate to pain, I can relate to suffering, but the process may be similar, but your process is your unique process because there is no one like you. We all are, we may be similar, but we are not identical, you know. So I don't think I could have done anything different other than what happened. Because what, in fact, I didn't even do anything, everything was happening. And this understanding itself brought a lot of peace. So when things were happening, there was no personal will, separate will of the individual. So when there is no separate will of the individual, there is no idea that one could have or should have done things differently. But yes, I would just, from my side, I just tell people that, take good care of yourself and during this time, because yes, body and mind is going through a lot of stuff. So relaxation is important, and just take care of yourself. That's it. But yes, there is no easy way to navigate this. Sarthak says, how to make the ego stop blowing farts in the hurricane. Stop consuming bad food, Sarthak. Oof, yeah. So, stop consuming bad food. Okay, Wisteria says, why Kundalini awakening awake during the surge phase? And why not all of us experience it? With the time you reach to a point of useless. Hmm. Why Kundalini awake during the surge phase? Actually, Kundalini does not awaken during the surge phase. Uh, the surge phase was already there. Because if somebody asks you, when did you start seeking? You would say, you would give some answer like, okay, this event happened in my life and then I started searching for meaning. But it's not like that. We were seekers. We don't even remember since when we were seeking, because even as child, we have so many questions about the universe, the nature of things. Even that is seeking. It's just that when we grow up and experience uh, hardships in life, then that movement acquires a shape, which we call as the spiritual seeking, but overall it is seeking only. So when the seeking begins, the process for Kundalini has already started. And I think we all experience it, but some of us just don't pay that much attention to it. In fact, it is said that some masters have such clear channels that they don't even feel the movement of Kundalini. So there are people, where the sense of personal identification is so low that they don't offer any resistance to any kind of psychological movement, and they just simply witness it. And in those cases, Kundalini is not felt that much. Okay, Anna says, there is a state of consciousness in which we perceive the wonder hidden in all creation. Even the simple song of a bird seems to be coming from a fairyland. Yes, beautiful, yeah. I'm able to catch few thoughts in my mind as a part of play, but it seems like every thought has its mind. It wants to escape and not being caught and become self. Some thoughts are so smart that they just slip away and becomes self as I feel them. What do you think about this? Yes, so underlying root of every thought is the sense of separation. It's a separate self. So yes, it is all movement of the separate self. It is sneaky and it comes up, you know, when there is less attention, it comes up, it starts a story, and then all of a sudden, when the awareness comes, the story gets cut off, it's back. That's just its nature. So, it's like if you're aware, you can think of it like that irritating, annoying child who just comes up from behind and says, boo, when you're reading a newspaper or something like that. Now, if you take that to heart and you get violent with it, it grows, it becomes stronger. If you react to it, it becomes stronger. But if you just see it as just the inner child, throwing a tantrum, or let's say just, making a movement here and there, a child doing what a child does, then you don't worry too much about it. You're like, oh, you get shocked, but then you're like, okay, you just breathe, relax, and you just let it settle. So yes, you're right in that sense. Hello, Anju. Iris says namaste. Thank you. Thank you, Iris. When do we know that we are on the right path? Does it have anything to do with effort of the right time? Well, I think there is no such thing as wrong path, because every path is leading to one destination only. Whether you do Kundalini yoga, or you do Kriya, or you do Karma yoga, or you go through the path of Jnana, these are just different offshoots to the same, uh, same destination. Destination is same for all of us, the beloved, as the Sufis call it. And yes, some detours may happen here and there, and yes, when there is divine timing, it just happens. It just drops. So yes, you can say. The effort is not the effort of the right time. I would just say it's the divine timing, and divine timing is not in one's control. It just happens when it has to happen. What about alcohol and spiritual development? It seems to be grounding. Otherwise would be running too high. I know it's a snake circle. Okay, let me understand what about alcohol in spiritual development? Well, this depends on what you understand by spiritual development. If it is about, if the spiritual development is about attaining something, attaining a goal, then it's different. But alcohol uh, could bring a temporary effect of soothing in a given moment, but then, it perpetuates a cycle. So I don't know if, I don't have much experience with that, so I don't know. But yes, for some people it happens that a lot of substance intake happens, and then there is some light and some understanding and it drops. Sometimes that happens too. So yeah. Ayush says, what happens several years after the awakening? To whom? That's the question. Who has awakened and to whom things are happening? If we can answer that, then we can take up this question. Okay. Shankari says, thank you so much for all your guidance. Thank you, Shankari. All right. I think we will conclude today's session. Let it be short today. I'm a little tired too, and I think I will go off. I will go to bed now, and I wish you all have a nice evening or day or afternoon wherever you are, and just take good care of yourself. Just be, relax, and eat well, sleep well. Thank you so much for joining.